Hi everyone. Welcome to the Noble Network of Charter Schools Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. This session is entitled Why Choose an HBCU? We welcome you, but before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A button to type in your questions to the presenters at any time. They are here, ready and available to answer your questions. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, all sessions are being recorded, including this one, and will be available at strivescan.com/noble. Without further ado, I'll get out of the way and introduce our very first representative and both our panelists for this session, Ms. Tracy Alexander from Butler College Prep College, representing Fisk University, as well as Courtney.
Hello, everyone. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me. I am Tracy Alexander. I am a college counselor at Butler College Prep. I am a founder there, been there 9 years. I am a graduate of Fisk University, class of 2003. And then I would like to introduce Ms. Courtney Tarver. Ms. Tarver.
Trying to unmute and there we go. No video. Hello, I am Courtney Tarver. I am the 11th grade dean at Butler College Prep. I have graduated from Howard University, class of 2011, degree in marketing. I think that's it, right? Been at Butler this is my 7th year at Butler.
Great, thank you. So in our session today, we're going to talk about why choose an HBCU. And first, I would like to overview a little bit about myself and the HBCU college fairs that I used to facilitate at Butler College Prep. So back in 2016, I started the very first HBCU college fair there, only because I just wanted to introduce more HBCUs to my juniors and seniors. And this is solely because of my experience that I had at Fisk University. So thankfully, I began a partnership with Sarah McLaren, and we were able to come together to begin our very, well, not begin, but to produce our very first Noble Network wide HBCU virtual fair. Of course, we would love for this to be in person, but we know why. And next year, we're gunning for this to be in person. The why behind today's fair is just to not only open our juniors and seniors' minds to the experience of an HBCU, but sometimes you just don't know. And what better way than to hear experiences from HBCU alums. I know as a college counselor, many times when I work with my seniors, they have many questions about HBCUs. And this is kind of like the first time that they're actually understanding and just knowing of HBCUs. So we are happy, myself and Courtney Tarver, we're happy to be here today to host this panel. So again, the introduction, again, I'm Tracy Alexander. I'm a college counselor. And what brings me to this panel again is just, I want you guys to walk away with the knowledge of HBCU. Most importantly, I would like for you just to understand the why, the fun behind it, the experiences, the education, the history behind it. So hopefully you walk away with understanding what an HBCU can offer you. Okay. Right now, I'm going to speak a little bit about the history of HBCUs. Okay. HBCUs, we all know, is known for historically Black colleges and universities, okay? And also, what we also know is, well, you probably don't know, but who started HBCU colleges? Richard Humphreys. He established the first HBCU of Cheney University of Pennsylvania back in 1837, okay? And the reason why behind HBCUs were created were because it established to serve the educational needs of Black Americans. We know as a result, HBCUs became the principal means of providing post-secondary education to Black Americans, okay? Also, just a little fun fact, just to throw in, what percentage of Black doctors went to HBCUs? 9 of the top 10 colleges, they graduate most of the African-American students who go to earn PhDs are HBCU graduates. So I just kind of want to throw that in because I actually just learned that myself. And I thought that it was great, news to share with you all, especially since we're on the subject of why HBCUs, most importantly, what HBCUs can offer, okay? What I believe that a HBCU was able to offer me, of course, was a solid education, but most importantly, a community. I feel like to this day, with just anybody goes to college, you become lifelong friends. But I think with the HBCU, I kind of felt appreciated, not tolerated. I love the smaller classes that I had at Fish University. I was able to open up to my professors. They began to understand me, and I began to understand the class a little bit more because it was a little bit more personal in the classrooms. I can remember a time where I'd be late for class and my professor will, call my dorm and check on me. And I think some of us students kind of need that love, okay, that nurturing. And I believe that also, just to add this in, I first went to a PWI, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. And I went there because it was a state school. It was very inexpensive. I had no loans, and it was just a good fit for me. But this is a quick little story. I helped my parents drop my brother off, who went to Fish University. And the moment I stepped on campus, I knew that I was going to transfer to Fish University, and I did the very next semester. You guys might be too young to know Different World, but I felt like it was an episode of Different World and I needed to be there. So that's just a little more history about me and why did I choose a HBCU. I loved the love that my brother, the attention, the education, the partnerships, the internships, the stories he would tell me, the history that he would learn from the professors there. So that's my story on why I chose the HBCU. I also wanted to feel that same importance. And it's nothing great. It's always great. Black girl magic, right? So now, since I gave myself a little bit about myself, I'm going to turn it over to Courtney Tarver. I'm going to ask you to share a little bit as well, similar to what I did. So who you are, of course, again, where do you work? What is your role? What HBCU did you attend? What brings you to the panel today? And why did you choose Howard University? Most importantly, what did you gain from that experience?
Okay, you may have to remind me about.
No problem. I know. I thought to myself, wow, I just went in.
Again, I am Courtney Tarver. I am the 11th grade dean at Butler. I graduated from Howard University. Let me see, I'm trying to think if I have a cool story like Miss Alexander. I don't know. I always knew I wanted to attend a HBCU. Like that was my thing even before going into high school. I was a huge fan of A Different World, even though that was before my time. I don't know if it was showing reruns at the time or whatever it was on TV. And that was like I have to go to a school like this. So I was immediately just enthralled and in love with HBCUs. And again, I knew for a very long time that's where I wanted to go. Plus, I wanted to get away from home. Um, I am the oldest of five, so I was like, I gotta get out of here. I want to get out of Chicago. I want to get away from home. I want to be on my own. So again, I knew that before even stepping into high school. However, my first choice was Clark Atlanta.
Okay.
That was my first choice. Like, I want to go to Clark. I want to go to Clark. And as I got older and did my research, I was like, yeah, no, I really, really don't. I want to go to Howard.
Okay.
I ended up earning the Gates Millennium Scholarship, which awards me a full academic scholarship for 10 years. So once I did get that scholarship, I was for sure like, yep, that's where I'm going because now I can afford it.
Yes.
Whereas before, I was either going to take one of the volleyball offers that I had, which was going to be in Illinois or surrounding states, or maybe even try Atlanta because it was cheaper. There was no way I was going to Howard based off my parents' income. But once I got that scholarship, it was like, yep, that's where I'm going. It's paid for. So I was really, really blessed with that opportunity. So with that, it's like, this is where I belong. This is where I should be going. Like, it was destiny for me to be there.
I love it.
And you said, what was the
Yes. What brings you to the panel today?
I am always super excited. I think Miss Alexander can attest to this. Anytime I get to speak about my HBCU experience, I hop on board because of what Howard has given me. I really went in a girl and came out a woman. It taught me who I was, who Courtney was. It gave me so much. So I just feel like I owe it to Howard. So anytime I can speak to my experience, anytime I can just speak to the HBCU experience in general, I take advantage of it because I am passionate about it. I had an amazing experience, and that's just what I feel like I owe Howard, but I also owe Black students.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Okay. Are you still ready for some more questions? I'm about to bring them to you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. What was I know you said that initially that you wanted to attend Clark Atlanta at first, but then also if that didn't work out, you pretty much had the volleyball for the surrounding school. While you were in high school, typically, how was your list building? What was the list building process?
Honestly, that I don't remember too much. Well, no, I remember it wasn't much of it. Only because, and I always tell students this here at Butler, they are so lucky to have people who are literally holding your hand throughout the way. That was not my experience at all. We had a counselor and it was like, okay, like that was it. He didn't help me with my scholarship, like literally was non-existent. So I was just building my list based off of my own research and kind of what I knew, which wasn't much. And my parents really didn't know too much, although my dad did attend a HBCU on a basketball scholarship, but he didn't finish. So I think that's where, maybe it's in my blood. I think that's where it came from. But as far as receiving assistance or like building out a list, it was literally me all on my own, just at home, looking at what was cool. I mean, at the time we didn't have social media, so it was really like doing my research on like top HBCUs and building my list that way.
Okay. What if you could do it all over again? If we were able to turn the time back, would you still attend Howard, and why?
Without a doubt. I always tell people I wish I could do it all over again, and I would do it the exact same way.
Yeah.
I really, I wish I could.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I know my seniors ask this all the time by me letting them know that I did transfer from a PWI, SIUE, where I had no loans, where it was closer to home and was a little bit more affordable for me then to transfer to an HBCU out of state. I didn't get the scholarship you received, so I definitely had to take out loans to attend Fish University. And they always ask me that question, like if, I I knew now what I knew then. Would I do it all over again? And definitely yes. I think the experiences will go with me forever, forever. You know, I talk to my daughter all the time, who in 3 years will begin the college research, and already she's on the board of HBCUs, and she had the opportunity to travel with us, with our seniors, on the HBCU college tours, just to kind of see, you know, what I'm always talking about. And that's why I believe at Butler College Prep, when we do host our HBCU college tours, it gives the seniors an opportunity to actually witness, you know, our stories in the buildings. Some of them, you know, move forward with an HBCU, that's fine, and some of them don't, and that's also fine. But I love the idea of being able to show what usually wasn't shown, you know, wasn't really big out there in the world. Attending the HBCU kind of wasn't seen as something great, unfortunately, you know, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm loving how more open we are to the HBCU experience, and just talking more about the HBCU experience, you know, hosting Noble Network wide college tour. Speaking of this experience, when it used to whisper, you know, now I feel like we're shouting. You know, we're shouting our experiences, we're shouting the love, the education, the Black excellence that comes from these HBCUs, and just pushing of our future to also experience what we know that would change their life.
Yes, I think now people are catching on, because now it is trendy. Beyonce homecoming, that was like a full HBCU. Even now you have a lot of Black athletes transferring to HBCUs. So I think it is becoming more trendy, and it's showing what we already knew about HBCUs. The professors I had, I was able to, I'm looking up to people who look like me, who I aspire to be like. I'm walking on the grounds that Langston Hughes walked on. Like I am literally, it is a full legacy around me, and that it's nothing like that feeling, being in the building, that great setting, and knowing that like I'm gonna be the next great, like I'm in this same building as so and so, as Taraji, as Chadwick, as like I can go on and on and on. It's amazing. It's like an amazing feeling. It's really hard to put into words. And then also so I'm the oldest of 5, and then 3 of my younger sisters, or 2 of them, excuse me, actually went to HBCUs after me, because of the stories, because of everything that I brought home. They're like, oh, okay, well, that's where we got to be. Being there, being at Howard, being in DC for inauguration for Obama, like there's nothing that can take those experiences away. Like no one can take that away, that feeling that I still get even when I think about it. Being there for multiple protests, like it's really an experience. It's more than just homecoming, which I know a lot of people see on social media and the internet. It's truly more than that.
It is. I agree. I remember at FIS, I had the chance to take a class with Nikki Giovanni. Like that's something that
that's dope.
That's dope. Like a whole class with the Nikki Giovanni. I was able to do like internships with the Voters' Right Institute in Selma, Alabama. In New Orleans, Louisiana, at FAMU. Like it was so much on this college campus that I could just take advantage of. And that was either internships. Of course, I found out about the scholarships when I got on campus. Definitely go to that financial aid office and check for that money. But it was still so much on that campus that I left with. The experiences, the internships. Like I remember just sitting in class there, and then Nikki Giovanni, like, I cannot believe that I'm here in this class. Like, no, I didn't get the chance to become friends with her and exchange numbers, but I was in her presence. And that class alone, it was more of it spoke to my soul. Okay,
Yes.
so I just put it like that. It was dope. But yes, I definitely agree. It's 5:53, and I believe that this is over at exactly 6:15. So I would like to open up to our participants to see if anyone have any questions for us. For me, from Fisk University, if you're thinking about attending Fisk, for Ms. Courtney Tarver, if you're thinking about attending Howard University, because they call you guys the real HU, right?
You know it. You already know. You know that we're not HI. We're HU.
So if anyone have any questions, I would like to just go ahead and save a little time for any questions, because we can definitely continue to talk on and on about our experience. We can throw out see, I'm going back. We can definitely just talk on and on. So anyone have any questions? Catherine, is it a way for them? Are they adding it to the chat?
Yes. So if anyone has any questions at all, it's actually the Q&A. I'm sorry, the Q&A.
Okay.
So any questions at all, feel free to submit those in the Q&A. Our panelists, wonderful panelists, are here to answer your questions. And also, if you have a specific question regarding any of the two institutions here, we encourage you to also include the school name in your question as well.
Very excited. Come on, you guys. We can talk about financial aid if you have questions about that. We can talk about what is the criteria to get accepted into these HBCUs. Most importantly, where do you find scholarship money? Okay, no questions yet. So to keep from just sitting idle, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my knowledge as a college counselor as far as to how to get accepted to a HBCU. So most of your HBCUs, we all know, all of them are not in the state of Illinois. So therefore you will kind of have that out of state cost. What I love about HBCUs is that you will get accepted with a 4.0 to a 3.0, sometimes a 2.9 to a 2.5, and you possibly would just need like a letter of rec. But I know mostly with my seniors, a lot of my seniors who have the 2.5s through up to the 3.2s, they are getting accepted to every single HBCU that they are applying to. Most important, I know it's a myth out there that's saying that HBCUs are too expensive and they're not affordable, and that's why people don't go to them. That is not true at all. HBCUs have outstanding scholarship funds, merit-based scholarships, and there's also outside scholarships that you can use to afford these wonderful and exciting opportunities at a HBCU. Okay, you heard it from the mouth of a college counselor.
I wanted to add to that as well. Although I was a Gates scholar, so it was an outside scholarship. However, my two sisters, one attended Jackson State, the other Wilberforce, and both of them were on scholarships provided by the institution. So I do want to, again, piggyback. It is out there.
Yes, I agree. So let's open it up. We have 7 questions. Yay, thank you guys. All right, Annette Cooper, what do you think the best HBCU is for business management? That's a good question, because guess what? Most of them have majors, business management, college of business. So I can't answer the question of the best, but we know they have business management for sure at Fisk University and Howard University for sure. Okay. The next question is, Miss Taylor, the Dean of College Counseling at Butler College Prep. Her question is, Ms. A, as a Noble counselor, we know that HBCUs have been less affordable than PWIs. What scholarships do students have access to before getting to campus? That's a really great question. Right now, for an example, my seniors who are interested in attending HBCUs, there are many scholarships that cater to the HBCU experience, such as Coca-Cola scholarship. You also have the 100 Black Men scholarship. You also have the fraternities and the sororities who also have scholarships. There are many scholarships. Most importantly, on these HBCU campuses, they also have merit-based scholarships as well. So you will have access to those scholarships before getting on campus, because we never want you to have to pack up and leave campus. Rachel Bennett, another counselor, what surprised you about your experience? What were you not ready for? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. What surprised you about your experience? You know what? I'm going to have to be honest. Because I graduated from a Catholic all-girls school here in Chicago, and the percentage of Black students were maybe 7%. I never knew anything about HBCUs. I never was told. My parents didn't attend HBCUs, so I didn't know much about it. So of course, I only heard the negative behind the HBCUs, such as, lower in education, of course, no money to attend. Huh? What'd you say, Ms.
Money. I'm agreeing with you. Money.
Definitely. So I was always, that was the negative that I always heard about HBCUs. If you don't have any money, you cannot attend an HBCU. They don't give you scholarship money. And that is false. And what surprised me was going into that financial aid office and letting them know that I was ready to take away my unsubsidized and subsidized loans. And right then and there, they found me scholarship money on Fisk University campus to keep me there, because they appreciated me. And throw it over to you, Ms. Tarver. Do you want to answer that question? What surprised you about your experience?
What surprised me the most was that I actually had to work and study. I was not used to that in high school. High school came super easy for me. Didn't have to study hard. I did my work and everything I was supposed to do. I was an A student, but it just came easy. Yeah. And when I got to Howard, I was like, oh, okay, this is hard. I actually have to learn how to study. Yes. I actually have to plan to study, to go to the library. And that might have been my first time really sitting down and going to the library and doing work was at Howard. So that's what surprised me the most was the workload, and then just learning how to be a good student. I did terrible my first semester. So where I was crying, I can't do this. These grades suck. And then I finally started to get it together. Just learning how to be a student, to be a good student. That's what really surprised me the most.
I agree. And that definitely answered that question. What were you not ready for? I was definitely in the library. I had a set schedule, class, library, then the fun. I had to make sure. And then, I'm gonna be honest, it was just so many intellects around me. And, I wasn't going to be outshined. So I had to make sure that I went to the library so I knew what I needed to know. And like you said, it was a difference from high school going into college. And I also had to learn how to study. But you guys, you can definitely do it as well. Pretty quick shout out to Miss Tammy Evans, parent of Taylor Sibley. Welcome. And Taylor is interested in Howard, Miss Tarver.
Hey. She is. She comes about this every day and talks about it.
So Ms. Evans, have a question for you. How much does it cost to attend Howard? And how should she apply for scholarships there?
Okay, loaded question. I'm gonna need help from college team, but I do know, I graduated in 2011, so it has changed. But I do know right now, or within the last year, it was around 29,000.
40 something.
But I was gonna say that's not for all 4 years either. That's not even 4 years, because that's for a semester.
Yeah, it's about
Whole semester.
Howard is about a good maybe 41K a year.
Year. Yep.
And do you know to apply for scholarships at Howard?
Me and Taylor gonna have to work on that. We could talk on the side for that.
Okay.
I know the same thing you did at FIST though, like going to financial aid and like, hey, what do you all specifically have available? She should also be applying for a lot of outside scholarships. Like that is a must and what she should be doing. But then getting that connection on campus and like, hey, can you help me out? They do have people there, almost like here at within Noble, your college counselors to help you sit down. You make your appointments, they sit down with you and can map out what they have to offer.
Okay, I agree. And just to let the parent know as well how she should apply for scholarships. She can also, once being accepted, she can call into the financial aid office and also ask them what in-house scholarships they have for her to apply for. She can also always go online to Howard University's website and she can check there for scholarships as well. I know that Howard typically begin to send out scholarships around after Christmas. So during her Christmas break, she can definitely go online and begin that hunt. Another question that we have, we have HBCUs are the epitome for the culture. Talk about some of the traditions that exist on Black campuses that impact student experience. Ms. Tarver.
Homecoming, as I mentioned earlier, as
Yes.
everyone is like super familiar with, but it is tradition. Homecoming lasted about a week and a half when I was there. So you have poetry night, you have the fashion show, you have the step show, we have yard fest. Like it is a really big to do. Like I remember going broke for homecoming every year because like you gotta be the flyest, you gotta be dopest for every event. A homecoming is definitely a tradition. I'm trying to think of what else. Stand on campus freshman year. I don't know if that's like a thing at PWI. Like HBCU is like you stand on campus, you stand in the dorm freshman year. I'm trying to think what else.
If I can jump in, if I think back to my FIST days, I can just think about just chilling on the yard. Like if you want to talk about horticulture, like we knew, and we had a tree of knowledge. It was literally called the tree of knowledge on Fisk University campus. So we would just all huddle there and just have a good old time. Also the Greeks. The different plots that was on the campus, the history. I know with our HBCU college tours, we visited Tuskegee University, and it was just great to just understand the history on these college campuses. For example, back at Fisk University, you have W.E.B. Du Bois, and you have his building, statue, knowing that he graduated from Fisk. And then we had a whole class surrounding him that we would actually go outside and, meet, in the grass and just sit down and just have really deep conversations about being Black. And I think that just that yard feeling, that being on the yard, I think if anything, also, we want to really talk about it. The shows that used to happen on the yard, when a line crossed, and that would happen on the yard as well. Like it was really great to just see.
The band.
The band. Oh well.
The band.
Fifth and I have a band. Sorry.
Oh no.
We did. We do now. We do now.
Okay.
We do now.
First Fridays was really big for us at Howard, where everyone would go to cafeteria-esque. I don't know if that's what you want to call it, but we call it the pit. Where it was a bunch of different restaurants across from the caf, but then chilling out on the yard, everybody being out on First Fridays. I mean, it's like Miss Alexander mentioned, being in like those spaces with those who are just like people that you look up to. Being in buildings also is a tradition. Being in buildings that are named after people that you've read about.
Yes.
That meant a lot for me. I never wanted to go to a school, and I did my research a lot about this, about the schools in Illinois, named after ex-Klansmen or named after people who really weren't for me or rooting for people of my color. I was totally against going to a school that had statues and buildings named after those people. So being at Howard and being in buildings named after people who look like me, who fought for me, that meant a lot too. But that is a tradition also at HBCUs. Quiet, but like all of our buildings are named after those who like fought the good fight for us.
I agree. I definitely agree. While we're talking about traditions, I cannot not mention the Jubilee Singers at Fisk University, who would sometimes give us beautiful shows inside the chapel, out on campus, and just first hearing about them and actually seeing and learning the history behind why the Jubilee Singers even were created, to just move around. I mean, they traveled to different cities to perform and to raise money for Fisk University. Even to this day, Jubilee Singers from Fisk University is still, a tradition. I'm trying to think more. That was a good question.
That is a really good question.
That was a really good question. Okay, it is 6:09. Let's go back to the Q&A. Let's see if we missed any other questions. There are no open questions at this time. We're about 5 minutes out. So let's go ahead and wrap it up, Ms. Tarver. Any last words? I'll put it like this. If you can give advice to any junior, senior right now thinking of attending an HBCU, what advice would you give them?
Well, first it would be not to think about it, just do it. That would be my first bit of advice. But there is no better way than to get to know yourself, to love yourself, to appreciate everything that everyone has done before you, to realize the shoulders that you stand on. There's no better way to gain that knowledge than attending an HBCU. It really just hits the soul. We can focus on the loans, and we can focus on the money, and I know that is like huge. I do know that. But you will be taken care of. You will be in good hands. You will be loved. Yeah, just do it. Just do it. What you wait for? Just go out and do it.
I agree. Let me see. Let me answer this question. If I can give any advice right now to a junior, senior who wants to attend a HBCU, I would say follow your heart. I would say I know that all of them are far away from Chicago, Illinois, but I want you to know that the journey will be well worth it. Yes, you'll be far from home in a whole different state, but understand that this starts a new chapter in your life. And it's okay to be afraid to take leaps. And it's going to be a new journey. It's going to be uncomfortable to understand that you have to leave home and what you're comfortable with. But trust yourself and understand that you've done everything that you can do. And you've done everything that you needed to do to lead you. Okay, and you'll be all right on that college campus. And because you chose the HBCU, you, like Ms. Tarver said, you will be taken care of. You will be loved on. There will be people on that campus who actually care about you, who actually care about you going to class, who will actually ask you if you're all right. You would meet long-lasting friends. So that would be my advice. Follow your heart. If it's something that you really, really want to do, and most importantly, you've done your research, you're doing everything you can do with scholarships and completing those and calling to the schools and etc. Follow your heart. Do not be, I know me, that's why I chose SIUE, because I didn't want to go far. I wanted to stay close. So I'm speaking from experience here. It is totally okay to move to Nashville, Tennessee and attend a HBCU or Washington. It is okay, and you guys will be all right. Okay, let me see. Ooh, no question from me, just positive feedback. You both rocked this session. Yay. Yay, Ms. Tarver. That was some great feedback for us, and I hope everyone else really enjoyed this session. For my Butler seniors, if you're on this call, thank you so much for joining in. Most importantly, thank everybody for joining in on this call. Thank you, Ms. Tarver, for coming through and also talking about your experience. I can always count on you, definitely. Whatever I do at Butler College Prep around HBCU love, I can always count on you to give me a hand. So also, thank you. See guys, that's the HBCU love, no matter where you go.
Absolutely.
We might have jokes amongst ourselves, but no matter where you go, we're all family. Okay, so I'm going to pass it over to you, Catherine.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much to Miss Tracy Alexander and to Miss Courtney Tarver. We appreciate all the great information and knowledge you shared with everyone. And so again, I know there's a lot going on through this college process, but everyone is here. If you ever need anything, again, we really appreciate you all joining us. So thank you so much to both our panelists, and thank you to all our attendees for joining us. As we close, will be a very quick 5-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, your feedback is extremely helpful. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check out the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/noble. Again, thank you all and have a great evening.
Bye.